I'm doing some workshop upgrades, one of each is the center table. I've had it in the studio for over 7 years, and I've thought about replacing it with a larger MFT-style table a few times. Every time I fit a board in here, I need to walk around the studio and grab it from the other side. The planer is stuck between the leg structures, so I wanted to find a different solution to make using the planer more convenient. The backside has a rudimentary shelf that always stays messy. When Sautershop reached out asking if I'd like to test their VarioBench with the new Base Frame Pro, I immediately said yes. It was the perfect time for my upgrade since I was already cleaning and creating more storage in the studio. The assembly of the base frame was pretty easy with the help of the instruction booklet. The components are high quality and there are no plastic parts. The corners have these interesting brackets to allow the insertion of clamps and jigs in any direction of the extrusion's exterior faces. The squareness of the table is assured with these corner supports. To make it easy to install the adjustable feet, I pre-cut the threads at the end of the extrusion using a bolt. This table will work as an outfit table for my table saw, and I want the top to be below the level of the miter slots. That means I had to shorten the legs for reasons you might already be familiar with. To know where to make the cuts, I traced the mark at the level of the old tabletop. I then placed another extrusion below that line with 5mm extra and traced the final length. To cut the aluminum legs, I used my metal chop saw. I'm always amazed by the quality of the cuts and ease of use of this saw. Super nice results. I can work on the table stretchers now that the legs are done. They will receive these special connectors and slide in the legs channels. They are supposed to have a little wiggle room to slide correctly. Please note that I haven't installed the bottom stretcher at one side of the table. I want the planer to slide in and out of their area, so that piece will be installed when I make the cabinet under this table. After unscrewing a few bolts to ensure all the parts fit together, I tightened everything and the base was complete. This MFT style tabletop is called the VarioBench. It's a multifunctional top that not only has the typical holes in a square grid, but also additional holes that can be precisely set to any angle between 1 and 90 degrees. I'll explain how it works in a moment. Sauter has a regular MDF version and this dark gray MDF version, which, again, if you know me at all, was the obvious choice for me. It fits snugly in the base frame. I can now secure it from underneath using the provided hardware. The table is assembled so I can start dismantling the old one. I'm sure that when I have a bigger studio, that old table will come in handy again. I packed all the bolts and nuts together with the legs and put them aside. Oof, it was quite heavy. At this point, I was very excited to see the new bench in place. Here you can see the engraved angles and arrows to help set the direction you'll be cutting. I wanted a table with a whole grid to progress my work capabilities, but something I knew that would bother me was, well, the holes. I knew I would be desperate about screws and other small parts falling through the top. So I searched online for a solution and found these stainless steel plugs. They are better than plastic or aluminum ones because they are made of magnetic stainless steel. So you can pull them out with a magnet from the top of the table without stretching below the table to finger pop them. This concept seemed great, so I ended up ordering a bunch of them to cover the entire table. Now, because a special chamfer tool needs to be used to chamfer the holes, I wanted to check if this would create any problems with the Sauter bench dogs, like enlarging the holes too much or something. To test that, I opened the kit to find these top quality, smooth, and beautifully machined dogs. They look and feel absolutely perfect, and believe me, it doesn't matter if this video is sponsored or not, you won't be disappointed if you eventually get them. They couldn't be any better. They have two sides, one precision ground to be a fraction of a millimeter smaller than the other to compensate for humidity and swelling of the bench top. They are also made from magnetic stainless steel. I'll explain why that matters in a minute. I was really concerned about the fit of the Sauter bench dogs in the chamfered holes. Thankfully, it doesn't interfere, so I'll go ahead and chamfer the rest of the table holes. Now let's see some of the possibilities this work table gives us. I'll share some of the accessories that make the VarioBench super useful. Like on any other MFT style table, we can bump things against dog holes. Let's say you need to cut some dominoes or biscuits. Having a grid to adjust the position of your bench docks is really nice. What if you need a stop block at any point of the table? You can use the small fence or the larger one at the right and add a stop block to it for repetitive work. You can also just use it as a positive corner to secure your workpiece. Another rather obvious feature is clamping. Clamping can be done using different types of clamps, such as these common rail clamps. Sauter offers a variety of MFT clamps, and you can even get them as a kit. The quick lever clamps can be inserted into the hole, and as they all have a thread at the bottom, you can fix them in place with the provided nut for stability and repetitive work. If you need the surface free from clamps, you can always use these small bumpers and insert 2 horizontal clamps. These are especially useful for routing, sanding, or hand planing, as they don't create any obstructions. They also come with knobs to firmly secure them to the table. The main concept of the VarioBench is to allow any hobbyist to work with as much precision as a professional woodworker with large stationary machines. What impresses me is that we can cut panels with a track saw or router using a rail set to any angle between 1 degree and 90 with precision. It was specially thought out for accurate rail usage. It doesn't work with the Bosch rails though, if you need all the nicest features. The saw does hit the bench docks, and I even tried using the fence as a spacer. It still doesn't work because the base plate of the saw protrudes past the rail and doesn't get in. So to unlock all the cool features, you better get a rail from Festool or other brands that use the same format, like the Triton or the Makita. But I can still fit my old Bosch saw in the rail if I need to. I use rubber floor mats to level up the workpiece and make it less slippery. It also prevents the saw blade from cutting into the table. It works fine as long as the rail is in contact with the dogs at all times, but just a tiny hit can move it. To combat that, Sauter released a magnetic kit specifically made to keep the rail stable against the dogs. The kit has 2 steel spacers, 2 strong long magnets, nuts, and bolts. I always wear gloves when handling super strong magnets because they can pinch the skin and cause nasty bruises or bleeding on your hands or arms if you're not careful. Oof, this is a piece of steel. You can imagine the 2 magnets coming together. As I explained, the bench dogs are made from special magnetic stainless steel. That's how the rails stay snugly against the bench dogs. Sauter sells these bench dogs with magnets as a kit, and if you use my code CRIS10, you can get 10% discount in the next few days. Please check the links below for this offer and all the other tools presented in this video. Whoops, the saw was hitting the tall bench dog, so I changed it to the shorter one. For smaller panels, and mostly when using angles, it is best to use the long fence. What's super cool about this magnetic system is that you can slide the panel to perfect alignment with your measurement without the fence moving. Let's check the squareness. Wow, that's absolutely at 90 degrees. With this table, you can cut any angle from 1 degree to 90 with minimal effort. It has many marks from 1, 2, 3, and 4 to 45, 50, 55, 60, and so on. So let's say you want to cut an angle of 62 degrees. There is no 62-degree hole. What you have to do is to find the 55 mark and then find the 3-degree mark. 55 minus 3 equals 62. So when you place your fence at 3 degrees and then bump the rail to the 55 mark, your cut will be at 62 degrees. I didn't really make the cut here, but we can check that with a pencil line. I got my angle finder to see if this was precise at all. Let me move it to the other side of the line so it's easier for you to see. And bang! 61.9/62. That's impressive. If you don't want to use the magnetic feature, Sauter has these Vario hooks that can lock the rail to the table and are especially useful for routing. Last but not least, the Sauter Base Frame Pro has deep channels all around where you can insert dovetails, stitch rack, and rail clamps to hold workpieces vertically. I'm super excited about my shop upgrade, and I can't wait to show you the storage cabinet I built for this table and the planer lifting platform in my following videos. Well, hello there! You arrived just in time for an amazing offer. For you, my friend, and for you alone, we have a special discount on these fabulous classic logo t-shirts. You can get them right now at only half price for 2 special reasons. It is my birthday on the 26th, and because you linger long enough to watch this after the video. How about that? And you know what? Maybe you just got distracted and the video kept on playing and this silly song caught your attention and brought you back. I still call that a success. And you know another example of success? Buying things half price. Of course! Hop on my website on the link below and grab your shirt before it's too late. Promotion only available from the 26th to the 31st of August. Hurry now and have a nice day! Até já!